Hello, good morning, and welcome. It is good to be back after a week off. Welcome to ESPN First Take for Monday, June 28th, 2010. I'm Jay Crawford.
You're a week off.
I know,
I was here.
I know you're here.
And I'm Risha, candidate in for Dana Jacobson. With 3 days left until the free agency period starts, the big question on everyone's mind, because we've been talking about it for 2 years, is where will LeBron land? We'll head around the country to get the latest pitches from all the suitors of the Kings' possible next court.
Also, how does winning a Super Bowl change life for the head coach? Sean Payton is going to join us. He's in studio. We're going to ask him that very question. We'll also find out how he plans to keep his guys motivated now that they are no longer everyone's favorite underdog. Skip, what do you got for us today?
Welcome back, Jay. We are about to debate what Prince James should and shouldn't do and what he will do.
I like that. As long as it involves Cleveland, then I'm good.
And lots of people on Twitter and First Take have been missing Skip,
Yeah, I know.
so everybody's all fired up to have him
He's
back. And don't forget, we like to have you as a part of the show, so join us in the chat room. Go to ESPN.com/firsttake with 2 T's. Click the Your Take tab and join in the conversation.
ESPN First Take is underway. All right, here we go. LeBron Watch Week is officially underway, and it is about to get crazy. And depending on who you read and who you listen to, LeBron James is either headed to Chicago with Chris Bosh to play with the Bulls, or according to a conflicting report this morning, he's going to Miami with Chris Bosh to join Dwayne Wade in South Beach. It is getting crazy, and it is just getting started. LeBron doesn't officially become a free agent until Thursday. So until then, the 4 teams in the best position to land the hardwood royalty will put together their best sales pitches and head out to what could be the biggest business trips of their careers. We've got the latest now from Chicago, New York, Miami, and New Jersey, and we start with one of the apparent frontrunners, and that is the Chicago Bulls. Nick Friedel covers the Bulls for ESPNChicago.com and ESPN Radio 1000. He is with us now. Nick, thanks for being with us. What makes the situation so good in Chicago that one executive is saying, quote, it's a done deal, LeBron will be a Bull?
Jay, with the deal to move Kirk Heinrich in place last week during the draft, the Bulls now have almost enough to go after that second max free agent. And all Gar Forman really has to do during his meeting this week with LeBron is say, look, LeBron, you're going to be 25. You're 25 years old. Chris Bosh will be 26. Luol Deng, if he stays with the team, is 25. Derrick Rose is only 21. He's already an all-star. Joakim Noah is 25. He could be an all-star next season. And they've got a guy in Taj Gibson who's coming off the bench, and he's 25. So not only are the Bulls lined up to win a title maybe in the next year or the year after, but for years to come. And no other team offering James any of the deals has that to offer right now.
That is a compelling case. LeBron does some of his best work, as we've seen, when he's handling the basketball. And clearly the Bulls have a point guard that can do just that in Derrick Rose. What kind of concern is there that Rose and LeBron could coexist with one basketball in Chicago?
That's the biggest concern really there is, Jay. And the argument to that is, look, I mean, LeBron and Derrick Rose are best friends. I'm sure they've talked about this several times over the last few weeks. And if LeBron comes to Chicago, they're going to figure out a way to make it work. But that is the one thing that I think Tom Thibodeau and Gar Forman and John Paxson, who's the executive VP of the Bulls, have to spell out to LeBron and say, look, how are we going to get you the ball? Do you want the ball at the end of the game? And they've got to get Derrick Rose in on that process, obviously, and tell him you have to do whatever you can do to make him happy and make the team better. And so that is the major concern for the Bulls going into their meeting, I think, this week.
All right, Nick Friedel with the latest on the Bulls. The push is on. Nick, thanks. We appreciate it.
You got it, Jay.
Reish?
Well, from the Midway to Broadway, we now check in with Mark Berman of the New York Post for the latest on the Knicks pitch for LeBron. And Mark, thanks for hanging out with us here on First Take. LeBron said this will be a basketball decision. The Knicks were 29 and 53 last year. How will they sell him on basketball?
Yeah, I mean, LeBron, all he cares about is the future, not the past. And I know the Knicks are underdogs here. Their cast is not quite as good as Chicago. But before it was mentioned that Chicago has almost enough for 2 max players. The Knicks have enough for 2 max players. Is Chris Bosh going to come along with LeBron and take $1 million less than the max? I'm not sure about that. So, listen, they sit down with LeBron on Thursday and say, you could come with Chris Bosh, 2 full max contracts, and we have a young cast in Danilo Gallinari, Wilson Chandler, an improving Tony Douglas, who's probably going to be a very good defensive player in this league, and they have an owner who is willing to spend more than the Nets owner. He has proven in the past he's willing to go way above the luxury tax and do whatever it takes.
Yes, and that group going to sit down with them is Dolan, Walsh, D'Antoni, and Allen Houston. They're all going to Akron. Chris Broussard reporting that the Knicks are set to offer Joe Johnson a maximum salary come Thursday. What should we take from this?
Well, we've talked a lot about Chris Bosh, but D'Antoni thinks that Joe and LeBron could make a great tandem as well. The Knicks don't have a shooting guard on the roster. LeBron plays the 3. Joe doesn't need the ball. I think it's a good tandem. They'll be up against Atlanta, who could offer Joe the extra year, and that's the tough part. But Joe loves D'Antoni. D'Antoni loves Joe from their time together in Phoenix, and I think Joe is sort of been overshadowed a bit and would enjoy the spotlight of Broadway.
Mark Berman of the New York Post, certainly appreciate your insight. It's pretty humid here in the Northeast, so somewhat reminiscent of the Florida area. Let's talk Miami, Jay.
Yeah, that is next up, Reish, on our tour of potential LeBron cities. And according to one report this morning, LeBron will play in South Beach next year, along with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. No confirmation, just a report. For the latest on that Miami situation, we welcome in the Associated Press beat writer for the Miami Heat. He is Tim Reynolds. Tim, you're very familiar with the situation. What are you hearing right now?
Well, Jay, I talked to Chris Bosh yesterday, and he's sort of been, he thinks all this is somewhat getting comical now. Dwayne Wade told me the same last week. I mean, it's evident. Every team with cap space, every team probably out there is going to try to contact LeBron at 12:01 on Thursday. Now, absolutely, he is at the top of Miami's list. He's at the top of everybody's list. And he's a guy, Dwayne Wade has been saying on the record since April, he's a guy who he would love to play with. He thinks he and LeBron could share the ball, could share the spotlight, could share that whose team is it sort of stance in the locker room. It could work down here. Obviously, though, so much is going to change between now and Thursday. You don't even know where to begin anymore.
Separate from the report that he is